It's Rusty Diamond, motherfucker.
Yo, man. Boom, Miss Rusty. What's up, everybody? I forgot about one thing earlier on the last episode. So, welcome to the podcast, the public access podcast here on the Quantum Global Broadcasting Network, QGBN, where you can hear other shows such as When the Gloves Come Off, the Thinking Man's Pro Wrestling Podcast. This is It with Lizzie and Say By the Ben. Show is brought to you by Stoner Eats Productions, Fred Ben Savage as Fuck, Hardcore Entertainment, Hypnosis is Great, and SockEmUp.org. And you guys, if you want, you can leave a message, or you can also be like this guy.
Messages? We don't need no stinking messages.
You can be like him too. I don't care. I like it if you do. And if you want to, the phone number is 503-974-6420. I'll play it on the air. You can listen to it back or watch me react to it on video if you want on a YouTube or a Rumble, where you can also see this podcast. So thank you, everybody, for being here. And it's time to bring on my special guest right here, right now. We have Tanysha Costales. How are you doing?
Hello, thank you so much for having me. It's such a pleasure to be here.
Oh, you're very welcome. Yeah, it's great to have you here. It's a little hot here. I hopefully you have some sort of cooler or something around you right now, but
Yes, I do. We have central air, so we're definitely
beautiful.
blessed over here, but it's hot in Florida.
Oh, okay. You're in Florida. How's Florida doing? Florida life. Have you been in Florida for a while?
For a year and a half, we relocated from New York and came out here. And honestly, it's one of the best decisions we have ever made. We absolutely love the land out here.
And you did it about 30, 40 years before most other people in New York too. So you got a good jump on them.
Yeah. Born and raised out in New York. So
okay. All right. Yeah. I was out there a few days ago, and yeah, probably a little different, but so you're in Florida. So you where are
you from?
Well, right now I'm in Connecticut. So
Okay.
Yeah, it's
Not that far from New York.
Not too far. It has to be about an hour and 20 minutes. So yeah, not too bad. But yeah, so yeah, you decided to leave New York and go to Florida. And so I mean, what was something that caught you by surprise? What was the first thing that caught you by surprise in Florida? I guess is the question.
By surprise. I don't think anything really caught me by surprise. Everything was pretty new. We definitely enjoyed the view of the palm trees. That was the first thing we noticed once we entered into Florida. We was like, palm trees, wow. So, but I don't think there's much of a surprise.
Okay, you haven't seen any wild stuff? You haven't seen any Florida man stuff, or you know about that? You know about the Florida man, or you can type
No.
in. So if you go on Google and you type in Florida man or Florida woman, and then any day of the year, maybe your birthday, you type in that. And every day has some crazy story of some person in Florida doing whatever.
Wow.
But yeah, if you ever get a chance, if you ever
But now that you mentioned it, there is something that caught us by surprise. When we bought the house, we didn't have a fence in the back. And we don't have neighbors in the back where we live. So we're sleeping and I wake up in the middle of the night with this noise of some type of animal. I did not know what it was. But now that I've lived here for some time, come to find out, there's just turkeys roaming around.
Whoa.
So
Okay.
it was a turkey, and they're usually roaming in flocks. So
Right.
we have a fence now, but there's turkeys always roaming around, and it felt like animals fighting or something, dying. I don't know what was going on, but it was turkeys.
You never seen turkeys before?
I mean, yeah, like in a farm, like in school when we go on little field trips,
Yeah.
but it's not like I was there spending time with it
Yeah.
where
I don't
where I
think.
knew the voice. Well, the sounds they make.
Yeah, I don't think I would. I mean, I think my first thing of wild turkeys when I was driving somewhere. I don't know where I was driving. I think it was when I was driving from Oregon to Minnesota. I think I saw some along there. And I was like, I don't know, nothing I ever seen before. I think I was in Idaho or Montana then, and just saw, yeah, wild turkeys. And who'd ever thought, you gotta see some different stuff. So,
Yeah.
and so you're born and raised in New York, and so then you're going down to Florida. And so was that, I mean, were you in the city in New York
And
or?
no, in New York, I was in Long Island.
Okay.
So yeah, so it's not the city, it's Long Island, more space. You get an actual yard. Oh, did you ever hear of Brentwood, the town of Brentwood in Suffolk County in New York, where the whole, oh my goodness, what's that gang? The MS gang, the Salvadoran MS gang, and Trump end up going to New York because of the whole situation, how Brentwood was super bad because of the MS gangs were just killing people. Have you ever heard that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, born and raised in Brentwood, New York.
Okay. All right.
But we left, our house was in Mastic when we left. When we bought our first house, it was in Mastic, which was a little down south more.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Is it down south?
Somewhere. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
it's all down south to me. So,
Right.
which is, yeah. Yeah. Went a couple times and did the ferry from Bridgeport to Port Washington. Did that one
Mm.
before we moved out here. Came out here to come look at places, and yeah, I went over there to that part of the island. But did you ever go out by Montauk?
Montauk.
Or do you know anything
No.
about that?
Yeah. I
Stories
know.
and stuff.
Definitely, the Montauk, oh my goodness, what is it? Lighthouse, the lighthouse. I've
Yeah.
never really traveled down there. I wasn't so far away, probably like an hour, 2 hours away from Montauk.
Yeah.
It's like a rough estimate. But I've never been really down there.
Okay. Okay. There was, I think it's Montauk, or there's another, it might be a different island right there where there was, I think there's Montauk, there was things. Oh, what's that island? There's some island, Plum Island.
Oh, Fire Island. Are you talking about Fire Island?
I don't know, where there was some sort of like an animal testing place.
Oh, no, I never heard of that.
Okay. Yeah. I think there's like an animal testing place on Plum Island, I believe. And they were having interesting things washing up on the shore in Montauk, I think is what it was. But
Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised.
yeah. So did you go swimming in where, so if you're going to the coast to, if you call it the beach, I guess, I don't know if you call it the beach or not.
The beach.
Did you go around there, or did you go further out? Like how far would you have to go away from the city to go get into the ocean?
So when I was living in Brentwood, it was about 30 minutes away.
Mhm.
No, I'm lying. It was probably like 20 minutes away when I lived in Brentwood, not too far. But when I moved to Mastic, it was about 45 minutes away. So not so bad.
Yeah. And so now are you closer now down there? Are you more,
Well,
are
it's
you like
about
in the,
Yeah, it's about the same distance from when we lived in Mastic. We go to Clearwater because the water is
Okay.
clearer. So I would rather go to Clearwater. So we travel about probably like 40 minutes away from where we're
And
located.
so has it been different with, so do you, when you're working, are you mainly doing virtual stuff like this, or are you,
I
so,
work from home.
okay, so has it been different then with there being sunshine all the time as opposed to, has that been
Mm.
harder? Because I mean, I grew up in Portland, Oregon, and I mean, so I'd have gray at 9, 10 months out of the year and a little bit of sun. And so doing stuff inside was one thing. And then, yeah, uh, I moved to Minnesota, and yeah, it was a lot of sun. It was cold, but tons of sun. And so then I felt like I could go outside, and I think I became, I don't know if I became less productive, or I just maybe got more hours in the day somehow to do stuff. But has it been kind of a thing with that, with or do you have a pretty set schedule when you work, or has it been harder to, get out and
No, it's smooth sailing. I'm honestly living my best life out here. I was already working from home in New York, but out here is such a beautiful scenery. Where my office is, we have the sliding doors where it's out to the lanai. So you see the pool, you see the sun, you see our beautiful backyard, and it's just a beautiful scenery. We're living good out here. We're definitely blessed.
yeah. And so you got transferred out there to Florida, you said, or you choose to go out to Florida?
I We wanted to relocate and move to Florida, so I asked my job if that was a possibility for me to relocate my position over here since I'm already working from home out in New York.
Right.
And they agreed, they approved it, and that's it. It was out, I think, by like 2.5 months. We sold our house was already sold in New York, and we packed our house and
Oh,
we just drove, took the family and drove. And we had no family out here. We just left.
how's that been?
It's been good. We've been the best we've ever have. Like we've received so many breakthroughs in this home. And I started my business. I started writing the book, and my marriage became better. I already had a good relationship with my children, but it's so much better now. At first they were kind of, how should I say, you they needed, when I was embarking on this journey on starting the business and writing the book, I had less time with doing the chores that I normally would do. So they needed to basically pick up my slack. And they're 12, 11 years old, the two oldest. So it's like, you guys need to help me out. You need to help your dad out. He can't do everything. I'm over here working. So at first it was, it was a little hassle. We have one that is pretty good with cleaning, and then we have another one, the boy, that doesn't like cleaning at all. So there was a lot of, punishments where it was taking away the PlayStation or whatever game he has. I don't know, Xbox, I don't know, those games. But now it's good. Now we're on a schedule. It's like, these are your chores, you must do it, or you don't get to play with your game for a full week. So you decide. So
Yeah.
we're good.
And so then that worked out pretty well and got
Yeah.
him to do everything. And so when you decided you're going to write a book, was it I mean, was it like you just like, gotta write a book, let's start hammering this out, or was it,
I'll tell you exactly what happened. So one day, a thought came to my mind. You should write a book to tell your story. And that's something I never wanted to do. I did not like English class. I did not like writing essays. So I'm like, kind of like laughed, smirked it off, definitely pushed it to the side, and went on with my day. I knew I wanted to start a business, so I was already kind of in my brain figuring out what product could I sell, what can I do. Then not so far after that, because I am a believer, so the Lord spoke to this man, and he, basically prophesied over my life, and he said, the Lord is telling me to tell you that you need to write a book. So, and I was just like, oh man. So that thought that was in my head was God telling me to write my book, to share my story.
So who is the man?
Oh, it's a man of God that in the beginning of my walk, the Lord used to teach me about the Lord. I don't want to just like say his name because
Oh, okay.
I'm not.
So it wasn't a metaphorical man. It was an
No,
actual person.
it was, yeah, it was a
Okay.
man, a physical man. It was a physical man.
Gotcha.
Just God just spoke to him to give me that message. Like, yeah, that was me that was telling you to write the book. And
Yeah.
then obviously I received other confirmation too that he was telling me to go forth with the book. So I said, listen, I don't want to do this. I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm going to obey you. I'm going to just write everything down. And you need to connect me with the people who would be willing, who's going to be able to get my story out in a way that is going to touch lives. And that's what he did. He connected me with my divine helpers, and my book is published, is hit international #1 bestseller. So
Cool.
he did his thing.
And so when you were writing, was it, did you do it sort of like an outline and then fill in the gaps, or did you just sit down and just write and write and write and write and write and then maybe edit it later, or what?
Oh,
How'd that
there was
go?
a lot of editing. Let me tell you that. So
Yeah.
what I did was I was like, okay, you want me to share my story? You want me to share my testimony, my encounter I had with him that made me turn to Christ and walk on that path, and where I am now. So I need to start from the very beginning. So I knew I was already going to start when I was in my mother's womb, and so now, and I've overcame trauma, I've overcame abuse, and I overcame self-hatred, people pleasing, and it was all through God's help. So I started from the beginning. Okay, let's start when I'm young. So I just started writing everything down from when I was young, I was a child, what happened throughout that childhood, and just kept going on, living on my own by the age of 16, graduating high school, 11th grade, meeting the father of my children, how that went, how the abuse continued, and just on until I suffered from fibromyalgia. And then I end up going on a self-discovery. I left the father of my children and I went to embark on a self-discovery journey because I knew my problem was I never loved myself, so I needed to love myself.
And so with the fibromyalgia, was that kind of was that hard to explain to the people around you? Because
Yes.
it's an interesting one, and
Yeah.
because it's hard to explain. Like,
No one understands the pain unless someone has the same thing,
right.
is suffering from the same chronic pain. No one would
Yeah.
understand because we look perfectly fine in the outside, but the pain is so unbearable, we no longer want to live.
It gets hard. It sucks sometimes. And so was it able to when were you able to get some relief from that, or has that?
I've tried my best to try to get some relief. I started drinking more too, because at first they were saying I had, Holy Spirit, what's that word? Vertigo. At first they said I had
Oh,
vertigo. So I started drinking more to kind of somewhat balance myself out. It got so bad that what I was drinking, my body got so used to it that I wasn't even feeling nice anymore. So I was just like, well, this is done. And I don't really like drinking that much anyways. I'm just doing this to try to help me. Okay. And of course, I was already smoking weed before I had the fibromyalgia, but now
yeah.
I'm smoking an ounce every 2 weeks by myself.
Well,
That,
are you smoking blunts or something? And I
yeah,
mean,
yeah. I'm rolling joints. Yeah,
yeah.
I was doing all that. I was rolling joints. At the end, I had insomnia and the pain intensified. And I would go outside in my car and I would just smoke joints after joints after joints until, like, it would take hours until I finally got a little tired. And I was like, okay, I'm going to take myself inside to try to get some sleep now.
So go
Um,
ahead.
I had the nerves on my neck burned twice. But the thing is, the nerves on your neck, they regenerate. So when they regenerate, the pain starts coming back. So when I got the nerves on my neck burned, it helped a little bit. There was a little bit relief. I still felt the pain, but it wasn't as bad as it was. But a month later, it starts increasing. 2 months later, it starts getting, and then 3 months, you're like, oh my gosh, like everything is back to where it was. I did many tests. What else did I do? Oh, I forgot the name, but I have it in my book. I did some other tests that hurt. That was the last test I did, and it did absolutely nothing. I was on so
Oh,
many medications. They prescribed me a cancer medication to try to relieve the pain. That
whoa.
that wasn't helping. So I've tried a lot of things.
So
So, mhm.
you're feeling relief now?
Oh yeah, I'm healed, 100% healed.
What happened? Was that from,
This is
is that
so
part of
this
the book?
Yeah, everything's part of the book, but I'm willing to share. Hello.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Yeah, I
Cause
told you I'm an
okay.
open
Well,
book. I'm an
yeah.
open book. So, and this is part of my testimony. This is why I have a relationship with our Father in heaven, because of my encounter, my healing, my miracle that I received from Jesus. So the pain got worse. I'm telling you, insomnia. I'm suicidal now. I no longer want to live. I finally hit rock bottom. I got into a minor car accident and it was enough. I was done. I was heading to the rheumatologist at that time. Got hit. Well, yeah, got hit by a car. It was minor. Thank God I was good. But once I got out that car and I saw the damage, I was just like, mind you, these are thousands of dollars later procedures. It was almost 2 years that I was dealing with this chronic pain. So I just threw my hands up and I just said, I'm crying. And I was just like, God, I'm done. If this is how I'm supposed to die, then so be it. I'm no longer seeing the doctors anymore. I'm no longer spending the money. I'm no longer popping those pills. I am done. So you need to do what you need to do because I give up. I did not know that when I did that, I finally opened the door for him to come into my life. Oh, I got goosebumps. Oh, that's the Holy Spirit. So that same night, without me knowing, I was in my room, dark, lights off, and I was on no, not TikTok. It was YouTube. And this was 5 years ago, by the way. YouTube, and that's when I started learning about the truth of the world, the deception, all the lies, that everything we were taught was a lie. I'm pretty sure you know what I'm talking about. Everything, the government, as the corporation, everything that we're being poisoned in our food, our water.
Yeah.
Everything started, it was like the veil was lifted from my eyes, like that mask. And I was just like, what the freak? So a few days later, as the Holy Spirit is teaching me all, like giving me all this download of truth, I'm just like learning. And one day, a few days later, my mother, who is a believer, she sent me a live video on Facebook. So I went on it, and it was a man from Africa. He was prophesying to people. So I was on there. I ended up commenting. I was like, I don't have nothing else to lose. So he ended up calling my name, and he said, Tanysha, I need to speak. I need to pray over you. He's like, the Lord is telling me I need to pray over your healing. So he prayed over my healing. Okay, I received it. Like I said, I have nothing else to lose. Like I'm about to take my own life. So do what you need to do. The following day, I woke up 100% healed, no pain. I received a miracle, and it could only be him.
So did you reach back out to this guy in Africa? Did you get to talk with him anymore? And
Yes.
get to be your testimony is your book
Yeah.
and yourself.
Yes. The Lord had him in my life in the beginning for a little bit. I was learning from him, learning about God, because he would also come on and preach the word. So it was in the beginning, he was there in my life. But as you grow, what does the Lord said? He says there's always a time and a season. So as you go on with your life, and as you're growing, you're learning and you're maturing, there's certain people that were there in the beginning that will no longer be there. They already did their part. Now their season is over. Now it's time for you to learn from someone else. Or what he does is he pulls you away from people where he just wants the Holy Spirit to teach you his about his kingdom. So yeah. So he was there for a little bit.
So why do you think it takes someone to really get anything, to have to hit that spot, hit that rock bottom? I have another way I like to say it, but
say it. Go ahead and say it. Okay.
Well, when you poop your pants, you can't poop your pants anymore. So I mean,
right.
You're there, like, so well, how's it going to get any worse? How's anything going to get any worse? It can, this, when you're open to anything, open to whatever's going to get you some dry undies.
Yeah, exactly. You just want that release so bad. So you're just like, let me try the thing that I've been pushing away my whole life.
Right.
Because unfortunately, we are very stubborn. Therefore, you don't hear, that's why you hear a lot of testimonies where they hit rock bottom and then they called out and cried out to God, and God came in and they had their encounter and changed their whole life. Because he's a gentleman. He gives us free will. Therefore, the decisions that we make, we reap what we sow. That's our free will. So he'll probably send someone throughout your life and quickly like preach to you and, oh, the Lord, or prophesy, the Lord told me that he loves you, whatever. He'll probably send someone to give a word over you to try to, reel you in kind of, but we're so stubborn and stuck in our ways at times that we're just like, oh, I'm gonna live my best life. I'm gonna do what I'm gonna do. I don't know what people want to do, but I'm gonna just
Right.
continue to go clubbing, sleeping with girls, and smoke my brains out until whatever. Listen, because I've been there, done that, so I know. So
Right.
so it's usually when we hit rock bottom that we're just like, crap, we don't got nothing else to lose. So let me just call on God. It's like there's something in us that really knows that there's a higher power, right? That we know that there's some type of creator that has created the world, that has created us. So that's why we just like, screw it. Let me try this God that everyone talks about and tries to convince me of.
Yeah. And so then, okay, so then with it, then you're getting to write it. And so do you know in your head, do you know everything that you're going to write? Or as you're writing it, does more stuff come into your brain and it's like, oh yeah, I need to get that part too. Oh yeah, there's this I totally forgot about, and it would probably be a good story to tell.
Included. Yeah. I basically, like I said, wrote down my whole life. It was super long, but and then we have a word limit as well. So now we gotta, okay, well, I really don't need to go into too much detail with this. I feel like they get the point. Or let me pull this out. This doesn't really, maybe this could be for another book. This doesn't really need to be here. Or there's times where I'm at the end of the book, right? We've been through several editing now, and I'm sharing what I've finally wrote to my husband. And because I'm forgetting something where I need his input on what we went through. And he's just like, oh, well, no, this happened because this, and this. And I'm just like, no, it didn't. He's like, yeah, remember the second and third? And I'm just like, oh my goodness, I can't believe I forgot about that. But because where I was at mentally, there's a lot of things that we forget when we're really going through it. So I was able to pull information out of him that I kind of forgot. So I was like, I need to put this in this book. Like, this is gonna be a great scene for when the movie comes out. Like, I totally forgot I was being that petty. So there's a lot of things like oops, sorry. So you're taking out things that don't need to be there, and you're also putting in things. There's a whole bunch of editing that takes place, and that's not even the last editing. Then you have a developmental editor. That's the last piece of editing that basically helps structure your book and gives it that flow.
And so then you want to put this into a movie, you want to change it.
Oh, I don't have to do anything. I just need to continue to share my story, spread the message that the Lord wants me to spread, that I share within that book, which is self-love is the foundation to your healing journey. And he's going to have whoever needs to read it. The word's going to go out, and they're going to reach out to me and be like, I want to direct this and put this into a movie. And I'm just going to be like, ooh, I knew you was coming. I knew you was coming. So that's my expectation.
So then who are you pitching to play you and your husband?
Oh, I mean, I didn't even think about that. I didn't think about choosing actors. That's a good one, but that's most likely something that my husband is going to pick because he's like a movie freak. He knows everyone. I'm more of a visual person. Oh, that's who you're talking about. I'm not really much of a name person, but he knows everybody. He watches movie shows over and over again. I'm just like, didn't you already see this? But so he'll probably be the one to pick the actors. That was a good question. I didn't think of that.
Yeah, well, I have a few up my sleeve. there's so then when you were writing, were you writing with like on a notepad with a pen? Were you using a crayon? Were you using a stone and a chisel?
No, I
Computer,
don't.
phone?
Yeah. Well, if I'm being honest with you, I don't have the best handwriting. So I was not trying to write and then scratch things out, get a whiteout. No. So I did everything on the laptop where I can just immediately delete, rewrite. So I did on the laptop.
Yeah, the laptop has pretty good handwriting.
Yeah.
Uh,
And it checks for spelling. So
oh yeah, yeah, and yeah, you don't have to have whiteout or scratch or
yeah.
even with the typewriter, they had when the backspace thing sort of came in, and that was weird. And then let's see. So you got it all out, and then so I mean, what was it like when you saw that your book was out there? I mean, what like was there someone you didn't expect in your life that came and reached out to you because of your book? Anything of that?
We've just we've just it's when was it submitted? I think on was June 30th a Friday? June 30th.
About a week ago?
Well, last week we published, both books were published. First it
Oh,
was
okay.
the ebook and then it was the paperback. So this is recent. So let me
Wow.
hear. I have the print, the paperback right here. And so last week it was published and I was able to hit #1 bestseller internationally, which that is a blessing. So yeah, I'm just patiently waiting for when, like I said, when that person does come and contact me.
So what's the follow-up to this book?
Oh, as in like a second book?
Second book, or you say, a movie, but I mean, is it or is it end at present day Tanysha?
No, no. I'm pretty sure there's going to be more books. And I do see a second book coming out of it because at the end, I've received so many breakthroughs with my obedience with writing this book that it's going to have the readers like, well, what happens next? And this is the next. This
Yeah,
is the next. Now, what I'm living and what's going to happen because of my obedience and who the Lord is going to connect me with to, like I said, spread that message of self-love. That adventure, that journey that I go on is going to be the second part of this one. But I'm pretty sure there's other books not pertaining to this, I guess, my life journey of becoming a virtuous wife and the lessons that I've learned throughout it that I'm going to be writing as well.
are you going to keep them all nonfiction? Are you going to write any fiction?
Honestly, I don't, probably nonfiction. Well, you know what? I do plan on writing a children's book. So that would be considered nonfiction.
Probably. I
Yeah,
mean, for the most part.
right. So, but no, I guess I would have to wait until like the Lord gives me like a download of what he wants me to share as like a nonfiction because it's not my story. But I mean, you never know. It could happen.
Right. And so where are people going to be able to buy the book, or where are they going to be able to find you, contact you and work with you? How are they going to do that?
They can always reach out to me on my social media, my Facebook and Instagram. It's at Hannah's Unfading Beauty, which you will see my website, which is hannahsunfadingbeauty.com. They can always reach out there. Also, I do offer a free digital download of the 9 keys to overcome spiritual conflict. So in the opt-in page on my website, if anyone ever wanted to have a free download of it. All they have to do is just place their email, and then I will go ahead and send them that free download so they can have it printed out themselves, and they can use those 9 keys to help them out in their day-to-day lives, because till this day I still use it. And on my website, I do offer a free 30-minute self-love session with Hannah's TLC, which is me. So all they have to do is schedule a time on the calendar and they'll receive their free self-love session.
I mean, yeah, free is a very good price.
Exactly.
So, yeah, hey, Tanysha, thank you so much for getting to talk and share about you, and everyone gets to learn about you, and should go out and buy your book and check you out, talk to you. So, why wouldn't you want a free call? So, yeah, so thank you so much, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.
Yes, thank you so much. It was a pleasure. You enjoy your weekend.
Likewise. All right. All right, that was Tanysha Costales. Yeah, you guys check her out. Get a hold of her, and I'll give you the way how. It'll be pretty easy. It'll be in the show notes. Yeah, check the show out wherever you listen to podcasts. You probably listen to it now. And you're watching it on YouTube or Rumble, you can also look where they're doing podcasts, and it'll be there. And thank you guys for listening here on the Quantum Global Broadcasting Network, QGBN. And check out the other shows such as Fred Ben Savage's book, Stonery. Oh no, that's the sponsors. But it was a show until Disney. That's a different story until Disney sent us a cease and desist. Stonery's Productions, Hardcore Entertainment, Hypnosis is Great, and Sock'emUp.org. Check out other shows on the network, such as When the Gloves Come Off, the Thinking Man's Pro Wrestling Podcast, This Is It with Lizzie, and Saved by the Ben. And you guys like, subscribe, share. You guys, the numbers are getting huge. You're getting a lot of people listening, watching, doing all that stuff. So thank you, everyone. Thank you. Keep coming back. You gotta. So that is the show, man. Boom.
It's Rusty Diamond, motherfucker. It's Rusty Diamond, motherfucker.
Ernest! Ernest! Ernest!
Yes, Pee-wee.
You brought the snacks, right?